Welcome to the exploration of consciousness.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. This is Matt Presti back with another episode of the TEC podcast, the exploration of consciousness. And today I'm delighted and excited to welcome my guest, Michael Post from Japan, an artist and the angel sent by God to destroy modern art. So we're going to have a lot of fun with this episode. We're going to dive into a whole bunch of topics, but basically discussing why beauty matters and what we can do as individuals to support artists, to find those artists out there who also, unlike the leftist movements of this world, appreciate beauty and really understand what art truly is from a sense of beauty and a sense of aesthetics. So welcome aboard, Michael.
Thank you so much for having me on. This is great.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
So why don't you start out by telling the audience a little bit about yourself and your background and how you got back into art and how you came to be the appointed angel of destruction of modern art sent by God.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, like you said, my name is Michael. From the United States, born in New York, raised on the East Coast of Florida. Graduated college with a degree in finance. Prior to that, I would say my background in art started when I was really young. My grandmother's an artist; she's a painter, so I think she instilled that sense of beauty in me from a really young age. And I used to sit watch her paint, and she started to teach me how to draw from a very young age. But going through school, I took an art class here or there, and I was like, they said I had natural talent, but I didn't really follow it. Because there's a cliche, like the poor artist, you never want to do that,
Right.
or go down that path. So I ended up going to college. I graduated with a degree in finance in 2009, right in the middle of the financial crisis. So that wasn't so such good timing. So
Right.
that whole time, I always wanted to live in a foreign country, and I wanted to live in a foreign country that was completely alien to me. So I took it upon myself to go out and check out which places would be cool. And I always had a thing for, Japanese culture. Their architecture is really beautiful. So I got a teaching job in Japan, and came over here in 2010, and I've been teaching in the public school system. I took a brief break. I worked with a Japanese machining tool company in sales, but my girlfriend's Japanese. She asked me to come back, so came back to teaching. And while I was here, uh, just I just through Walter Russell and a lot of different things happened, but eventually found my way back to art, and it was really refreshing. And when you really lock on and you start to grab and get a hold of that sense of beauty, your whole perspective and reality changes. And that's what I experienced, and I think, a lot of people, especially now, are starting to experience that with just the amount of garbage that's out there. They're really seeking, beauty in their lives, and that's kind of what brought me back into art, and it's what I want to do. I've always had like a subtle passion for it, but now it's kind of lit a fire under my behind, so feels good. Yeah,
Oh, that's awesome. Speaking of Walter Russell,
sure.
the University of Science and Philosophy, of course, you're familiar with that. They hold
Very.
all the books, and the university's authorized me to give you guys a special code, Beauty20. If you go to philosophy.org and click on store or philosophy.org/store, you enter Beauty20 at checkout and you'll save 20% on books and booklets. So why don't you tell us, how did you get into Walter Russell? How did you discover that? And what specifically did he write or do that inspired you to pick up the pencil and begin your drawing again?
How did I come across Walter Russell? That's always the question. Um, when I was younger, I always had a thirst to know. I always wanted. It was unrelenting. It still is unrelenting, and it'll hopefully never not be. Um, when I was in my early 20s, I was, I started to seek reality through religion, and that will only get you so far.
Right.
And so, the next logical step in that pattern is to go to science. And again, you run into another wall with science because they can't explain what consciousness is. And then the, it's just an intuitive sense that was within me that it's somewhere in the middle, and I knew it was, but I didn't know how to find it. Um, and I had an epiphany one day after reading some quantum physics. Those people that talk about cats and boxes in the middle of suns and space and stuff. Um, that it's just it dawned on me that reality is just an electric soup, and anything that is eternal has to be unchanging, and the only way it can be unchanging is if it can't move. So if it can't move, it's motionless, and so everything's moving. It's just an electrical simulation. That's what flashed in my head when I was 20. I couldn't explain it. I had no
Mhm.
idea, you know, who I could even talk to about that. That's crazy. I kept, pursuing to see if I could find somebody that could, you know, maybe delve deeper into what I was talking about. And when I was in Japan, I was following a guy. I was really into astrotheology. I know you know who he is, Santos Bonacci,
Mhm.
and he ended up in one of his videos. He dropped a little book called "A New Concept of the Universe," which is just coming off that wave of getting into science books. I read that book and it just melted my mind. It just blew my mind. Like, yes, everything that he was saying in that book was what I was thinking, not to the deepness and to the extent that he is able to explain it, but the basic foundations of what I figured out, if you want to call it that. He would just deep dove into it, and that's how it started. And I never stopped. I got every book, home study course, and just I feel like I've read the home study course 20 times, and
Wow.
I just keep going through it. It's just every time you go through it, you know, you get a little bit more, and something makes a little bit more sense.
Mhm.
And I I started to get back into drawing because I started to just getting into his talks, and I wanted to be able to express myself. I went through through the whole my whole life and playing video games as a kid and doing other activities. And I sat down one day and I was like, you know what? When I'm not here anymore, what's going to be left that are people going to remember me by?
Mhm.
You know? And I was like, what's the best way? And I've been huge into ancient civilizations
Mhm.
and origins of mankind, and big follower of Graham Hancock and John Anthony West, who's no longer here with us. Uh, and that also, got me into, just the beauty of the architecture and everything. And it's like, you know what? Great art is enduring, and they're a testament to that. It's still here. Those How many people on billions of people on earth that have seen those pyramids and been deeply inspired, and how much wonder and thought that it's brought out of people that they've in turn went out and created their own marvelous things, which have in turn brought everybody else up. So in the marble sculptures of Greece and Rome are still there, inspiring people to this day. And even the paintings. So I said, I just made up my mind. I said, that's what I want to do, and that's what I'm going to do. And I've always had a really deep uh, love and appreciation for marble sculpture. I love marble sculpture.
Mm.
That's my end game. If I could come out and say it now,
Sure.
start small, baby steps, but block of marble's expensive, and you
Yeah.
can't screw up, right? So
Right.
um, that's where my path has taken me. But right now, drawing and drafting it's the foundation of everything.
That's
So
great.
if you want to paint, if you want to do architecture or anything. So right now I'm focusing on that, and it'll unfold into that. And I'm deeply grateful that I came across Walter Russell. And yeah, I haven't picked up practically another book since I read him. He's pretty much the only person that I read. So
He's really an inspiration, and it is life changing
yeah.
to grok his work, to really sit with it. And so, was that a direct inspiration for you to pick up the pen again?
Yeah.
Okay.
Um, I one day I was just sitting at my desk and I just doodled something, and they're like, "Oh, this is really good." In the teachers' room, and they're like, you know, one other teacher says, "Oh, are you an artist?" And I was like, "Am I an artist? I mean, I wouldn't consider myself an artist." They're like, "Well, you should do it." And my lovely grandmother back home and my mom who've been really supportive, like, do it. You know,
Cool.
you know, she's they're awesome. So, if you have the backing of your mom and your grandma, you're gonna be okay. So,
That's great. Well, you and I met, I guess you could say, through Twitter,
yeah.
and I haven't been on Twitter prior to this year in any way, shape, or form that would allow me to even meet. I think I had an account just to see what was going on Twitter, but never really cared for it. But one thing I appreciate about this new generation of Twitter, if you will, I don't even want to call it X. I don't even know what that even means, but um, Twitter is cool because of the accounts that I'm seeing on there. In particular, ones on architecture, ones on you know preserving and saving and rekindling the fires of what is considered to be Western civilization and Western artistic values, models, architecture, sculpting, these kinds of idealisms that propel and have propelled man forward for centuries. In a religious context, even the incredible cathedrals, and there's just some really great accounts on there that I definitely have begun following, that were suggestions, because when we added each other as friends, these things started to come up. I would see replies to a lot of these, and I'm like, my God, I got to follow that. That's awesome. So we're going to look into architecture. We're going to look into sculpting, marble, the great artists. You put together a really great PowerPoint with quotes. And one of the things you do, if folks look at the bottom here on the ticker, that's Michael's Twitter handle there, and we'll also run your Patreon link. But you guys can go there, follow him, check him out. He posts some really great quotes, which we're going to go through here shortly. One thing I do want to do, we've got a lot of really cool video clips I put together as well. We're going to basically throw modern art under the bus, not just under the bus, but under the subway, to the lowest
Oh,
hell that we can push it down to in this episode,
the
because
10th level.
the 10th level of hell, never to return to the light of day. I aim to eviscerate and permanently destroy modern art with this tech podcast. So I'm here with the angel of modern art's death, and we're gonna do some surgery here. So stand by, folks. I'm gonna go ahead and run the first video of this, and then we'll come back and jump into your slideshow. But this is from the great Roger Scruton. Uh, it was a BBC documentary that appeared, I believe, in the early 90s, if I'm correct, maybe the late 80s even. But this is also the title of the tech podcast, Why Beauty Matters. And we're just going to run this clip and we'll be right back. Stay tuned. Well, there it is. That's the perfect way to get into this one. And so, thoughts on that?
Oh man, I mean, where do you even start? He did say something which is very true, which is the remedy to chaos is beauty.
Mhm.
And and what we're seeing and what everybody just saw in that clip, what is going on in modern art museums around the world is that's exactly what it is. It's chaos. And chaos breeds chaotic thinking. And look no further than the political spectrum and things that are going on today, and you see chaos. And they say that politics is downstream from culture, and you can see it. It started in 1917, or
Sure.
when he made the urinal and signed a urinal, and it's been getting worse and worse and worse.
Yep.
But that's why we're here.
It's interesting. My documentary, Dispelling Dimensional Madness, I point out that Henry Poincaré was the father of the Cubist movement. He inspired the Cubist artists to rebel against the bourgeois notions of reality. And so they started drawing in ways that were rebellious to order, in other words, chaos. This was the seed of the Cubist movement, which is where this modernity, all this postmodern art in this world reflected by this common belief that anything can be art. And if you need further proof, just look at Hunter Biden's many paintings of different kinds of crack pipes. I mean,
Yes.
it's unbelievable the things that are going on in the art world, and it's that same mentality. Everybody gets a trophy. It's really the most watered down version of reality. And as we know, the five fine arts being architecture, music, painting, poetry, and sculpting, and if they've even added two more, which is theater and video editing. So these fine arts, if they're watered down like they're being watered down, and you can get you know $12 million for a signed urinal, then what's the point of doing it? So let's bring in the slideshow, and we'll get to some of these really great quotes. And we're going to give the audience here just a little bit of reasons why great art endures and why we should hold great art to the high standards that it once had so that we can bring it back to those high standards. So why don't you start out by reading this first quote here, and we can discuss and move ahead in this presentation.
Sure. For I am the soul of art. To him whose soul would touch my soul and feel the heartbeat of its mighty rhythms, say, in so far as thou knoweth thyself as light, thou shalt know me as light. For I am beauty. In beauty must man be born anew. And that's from the Divine Iliad, Volume 2, The Book of Beauty by Walter Russell.
Great quote.
Yes.
And here's the man himself, the master of the five fine arts, basically for the most part self-taught, but he says the love of beauty is really the love of God. Another great quote. And that's just phenomenal, to think that these great artists, they reference God quite a lot. And it's not just from a religious standpoint, it's the standpoint that God, being mind, is the ultimate arbiter of truth, as well as the the spirit behind masterful art itself. So
Yeah, I don't know why anyone would want to imitate my work because if it's good, it belongs to God, and if it's bad, it belongs to me. Caravaggio.
yep.
It says it right there. He knew that his inspirations for his great pieces it came in flashes um, from the imagination, and he knew that was from God, and he also knew at the same time that if he was producing something that was not good, if his self was not in that, then it belonged, to him, to his flesh, to his you know to his body, not that eternal part of him.
Yeah, that divine inner inspiration, if you will.
Yeah.
Great quote. I love this one. I paint with my mind, not with my hands.
I
So
mean, that says it right there. We're done.
now you said Raphael was a big influence. What in what ways has he influenced you? And is it his style? Is it his quotes, or all of the above?
Now, the interesting thing with Raphael, it can't be confirmed. Any of his quotes can't be confirmed,
Interesting.
um, but they're attested to him. Now, that aside, yes, Raphael and Michelangelo are my two biggest influences as a painter and a pure draftsman. Raphael is just on another level to me. The one work that he produced, um, which is called philosophy. People know it by the School of Athens painting, which is a fresco in St. Peter's Basilica in Rome. Is It's just the amount of meaning that was in there, the color harmony, the proportion, the structure of it. It's just, you know, in a 1 point perspective, it just sucks you into it. And the all great art, no matter who it's from, has one quality about it. And you can tell, this is a little litmus test that people can use. When you stare and you look at a really beautiful piece of art, whether it's a painting, a sculpture, or a building, when you catch yourself forgetting where you are and you forget your body, and you're just, the only thing you're aware of is the artwork in front of you and your mind, that's the artist inspiring you with their mind and uplifting you. That's when you know it's great art. Get your the emotions don't come into play. Of course, the emotions come afterwards. Oh, that's beautiful. But in the beginning, there's always a very still sense of awe.
Mm.
And that painting in particular, as you can see, that's what really did it for me. I have yet to have the privilege to see it in person, um, but one day I will. And I mean, get into how many beautiful paintings are in Italy and in the Vatican and Rome. You know, it's wild. And the original, they called them cartoons. The original hand drawing for this fresco that they did, is still preserved. Um,
Mm.
off the top of my head, I can't remember what museum it's in, but the cartoon is massive. It's incredible. I'm pretty sure Raphael drew the original cartoon, um, but I know he had helpers to do it. But I mean, there's certain interesting things about people. For example, to go back to Walter Russell briefly, um, he was born on May 19th,
Mm-hmm.
and we all know what happened on his birthday, every year and every 7 years. But and he also passed away. He refolded on his birthday,
Mm-hmm.
and Raphael also
Oh,
refolded
really?
on his birthday.
That's
Yes,
interesting.
yeah, and he was young. He uh, he died when he was in his late 30s. Off the top of my head, maybe around 37, somewhere in there.
Right.
So who knows, what he would have been able to do. If his life would have been a little bit longer. But he burned really brightly and really quick.
Kind of like a Pico della Mirandola in a
Yeah.
way. Very interesting. So this is a Michelangelo quote. The marble not yet carved can hold the form of every thought the greatest artist has. And he was an interesting fellow that could do not only sculpting, but incredible painting, which we're going to see as we move ahead with this podcast today.
And that quote is it's very deep. Um, the same analogy can be applied to a blank canvas.
Mm-hmm.
And the same analogy can be applied, to your mind, because that's
Yep.
what your mind basically is. It's a blank canvas, and the you know the sky's the limit. And we need to stop. One of the cycles that art is in right now is copying, and we need to. That's an effect of the educational system and how the educational system educates instead of unfolding the mind and the qualities of the mind. And
Correct.
we need to get out of copying and getting back into and more imagining and creating. And that this quote speaks directly to that, I
Right.
feel.
And to the institution of education, if you will, the academic model is repeating and remembering, or parroting, as Russell called it. And you get the highest grade if you repeat and remember better than others, which is not teaching authenticity, nor is it inciting or inspiring original thought. So, what's unique to these artists is not only were they original thinkers, they were also very authentic as human beings.
Yeah, and Michelangelo used to get yelled at all the time when he was in school because he came from a fairly rich family. Um, and when he was in school, he used to get yelled at by his teacher all the time because he'd just be daydreaming and drawing.
Well, he got
Yeah,
yelled at by the Pope a few times too.
yeah.
There's a great movie. I wanted to grab a scene from it, but I ran out of space with all the different cuts I've got. But it's called The Agony and the Ecstasy with Charlton Heston playing Michelangelo. It's a tremendous movie. I give it 5 out of 5 stars. So anyone wants to, check out sort of the life of Michelangelo from a great screen perspective before Hollywood crashed and burned, that's one you can definitely look at. There's a scene in particular where he's talking to the Pope, and the Pope goes, "It's funny that I am the Pope, yet you, Michelangelo, know more about God than I do, and
Yes.
can talk to God where I cannot." But that was just a classic
That's a
line from that
that's a
movie.
great movie. That movie originally came from a book by Irving Stone.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Excellent. So here we have Leonardo da Vinci. Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication.
Ah, yes. And I believe the quote after this speaks to it, but in one of I think if it was the Divine Iliad, if I remember, but Walter Russell interpreted um, God as saying, great art is simple, for I am simplicity. Great art is balanced, and consummate art is balanced simplicity,
Yep.
which feeds right into the one of probably I consider I consider Leonardo da Vinci. Of course, he was a great artist, but he was more, I think, focused mentally on inventing and engineering. I consider him probably one of the greatest minds of all time. Unfortunately, his he didn't finish most of his artworks, um, but the notebooks that he left behind and the just the deep level of thought that the man had is just absolutely incredible.
Interesting too is as an inventor, his drawings had inventions far beyond the things of his day. And one caveat I might share is it's not published in any books, but it is spoken about from different staff that worked with Leo Russell, and even folks that are still alive today. There's not many who had met Walter Russell, but he would espouse every now and again, not very often, that he felt he was the reincarnation of Leonardo da Vinci and Mozart, and that he had been those two men in previous lives. And that comes from his recollection of his own illumination experience, where he saw what he said was 10,000 of his previous lifetimes. So that's a very interesting little caveat there.
Interesting. Art is the queen of all sciences, communicating knowledge to the generations of the world. Leonardo da Vinci. There you go. Yeah. This might be in my top 3 favorite quotes in this whole slideshow. I'll let you read it out.
Sure. From Albrecht Dürer, my desire is to leave to posterity a succession of pictures that shall be the mirror of my life and of my soul, as my soul has been the mirror of the eternal God.
I mean, if that doesn't give you shivers down your spine, I don't know what will. I feel like that since I started seriously taking drawing seriously and art seriously, I've been keeping sketchbooks, and I've got a slight sense of that, watching where I started and where I've come, and you can almost flip through it like a movie and just seeing it accelerate. And he was Deer was amazing, and look at his hair. He's a rock star.
It's like a ancient James Hatfield.
Yeah, it's like the artist equivalent of Weird Al Yankovic.
Right? Yeah, fantastic. And these are all incredible artists that you guys can check out. And if you follow Michael on Twitter, I'll throw your handle up there again real quick. He is the master of quoting the great artists. I don't think I've seen an account on Twitter that does as much to bring these great quotes forward as you have. So
Thank you.
keep up that great work. We'll go to the next one here.
The aim of art is to represent not the outward appearance of things, but their inward significance. Aristotle.
Beautiful.
And this is so true because it doesn't matter what product that you're making, whether it's artwork or an invention or growing a crop or anything, the product that you make is a reflection of your mind, of what's in you. It's a reflection of your character, it's a reflection of what you value. Um and I'm sure we're going to get into what they value with modern art, but the the ancient artists, just when they speak to me, it just speaks of power and grandeur and just love of the eternal. And they were truly great men.
That's wonderfully said. Wonderfully said. There's the man again. Electric matter is but a mirror which reflects qualities outside itself to simulate those qualities within itself. And that speaks,
Which
I think,
is,
directly to what you were saying. Go ahead.
yeah, what that quote from Walter Russell right there is the scientific explanation of the previous quote.
Excellent.
So the true work of art is but the shadow of divine perfection. Again, Michelangelo. I mean, he's gonna pop up a lot in the slideshow. Um, his nickname was Michelangelo the Divine, and you know, it's he says in another one of his quotes that might be coming up, that it doesn't matter how divinely inspired or how divinely you conceive uh, any form of artwork or invention, for that matter. When you make it into the product, it will never be perfect like it is up in your heavens. You can never achieve perfection in the material reality where we're operating, but it'll forever be perfect up in the eternal mental world. And the closer that we can get to that mental world, the more balanced and the more harmonious the products that we'll make will be. And all these men were able to pierce that veil.
Right. And interesting too, a lot of them were multi-talented, more than just a master of one fine art, but rather several at once.
And that's a very good point that you brought that up. They were all polymaths, and it's true because the way that their educational system was structured at that time, which came out of ancient Greece and then through Rome, and then it was rekindled during the Renaissance, is that they didn't they didn't learn to draw an apple, for example. They didn't learn to draw a body. What they learned was the principles of things, the constructions of things, the proportions. We can get into proportions later if you want, but
Sure.
proportions are so critical, and they weave a golden thread not only through art itself but also through music. So if you know the proportions of a string of a guitar, for example, or a violin, the divisions of the string can be broken down and are equally applied to artworks. And I can get into that with the golden mean, which I'm sure we're going to bring up later.
Absolutely. The soul is the same in all living creatures, although the body of each is different.
One mind, one soul. He was he like you said earlier, he was closer to God than any of the popes. And I remember what you said in a tweet that you came out with, I have my days mixed up because I'm a day ahead of you, but
Mm.
basically when you know that God is mind and that you know your mind and there's only one mind and that you are that mind, there's no intermediaries between you and the divine anymore. You don't need governments, you don't need popes, you don't need preachers. You have a direct link. And Michelangelo, I think more than anybody, was aware of that link.
It's wonderfully said. Yeah, that post is, you know, to mean that to the degree to the degree that you know you are that creative mind is to the degree that you can wield it. And that in itself is a divine proportion. And it's exact to the T. So one who does not know their own divinity, who thinks themselves as a body, will not be able to tap that divine power. They'll look for it outside of themselves. And there's no greater fiction in the world than power lying outside of yourself. And that's why I think the mediocrities of the world have brought the world to the brink of destruction, because that's what they believe, that power is an external thing, where all of these great artists are telling you the actual exact opposite, that the power of the divine, the divinity of all life lies within you. So yeah, that's great that you brought that up.
It's also well said, and it's a common theme throughout all these artworks too.
Exactly.
And here we go. Genius is eternal patience, Michelangelo. There's another quote that feeds in from what he said with this quote that is, if you knew how hard I had to work, my mastery wouldn't seem so wonderful at all.
Right.
And, just to look at the prestigious amount of work that the man was able to accomplish in his lifetime. And he, for his time in history, he lived to be a pretty old man.
Hmm.
And, you know, the the amount of work and patience, and they were probably really hard on him going through school, and just the perseverance. And he didn't, to my knowledge, he didn't marry. He just, his whole life was focused like a magnifying glass at the light through it, just searing beauty into our skulls for the next hundreds of years.
Right.
He's awesome.
That's one thing I like that the Russells taught in their home study course too, is that genius lasts for thousands of years, the works of genius. And the more divinity you can put into your own creations, the longer their life. So,
Yeah, and it's interesting that you brought that up because I've thought about this a while, and it's kind of the we all know the fantasy races of elves and dwarves and stuff like that from J.R. Tolkien, and it even goes back to some mythological references. And it's interesting that you said that because I always thought that is what the mythological significance of dwarves were, because dwarves tend to not like to wield magic out in the open. What do dwarves do? They take magic and they uh they incorporate it into runes and put it into their tools.
mhm,
So they wield their magic in the products that they make. And that's one of the things that I always thought of. Just made me think of that when you said that.
interesting.
Oh, here we go. The scientists of today think deeply instead of clearly. One must be sane to think clearly, but one can think deeply and be quite insane. It makes me laugh every time I read it.
Right. How true.
Yeah.
And there's another saying that goes with that as well. The road to hell is paved with good intentions, but it is never paved with clarity. I think
That
that
is
that is
that's
attributed.
100% true.
Yep, I think that's attributed to Terence McKenna, if I'm correct.
Another great thinker.
Yep. Beauty is the purgation of superfluity. I'm sorry. Beauty is the purgation of superfluities, if I pronounce that right.
It's going back to what Da Vinci said, and what Walter Russell said. Great artist, it's great art is not decadent. It's simple. And not only is it simple, but when you look upon certain cathedrals and even Gothic cathedrals, they look extremely complicated. But if you were to zoom in, the geometric forms are, they're simple. It's just multiplied simplicity. And they're just it's always the Navy SEALs also have a uh, a saying, keep it simple. I
Right.
don't know if it originated with them, but that's one of the mottos that you hear a lot coming out of that community. And yeah, always go back to basics. Always go back to the drawing board.
Right.
Art enables us to find ourselves and to lose ourselves at the same time. Sandro Botticelli.
Botticelli. I saw the angel in the marble and carved until I set him free. That's just beautiful.
And he had a very interesting carving style. Uh, if you start studying him or looking at pictures of his unfinished works, it's not like you would think that he would that that you would carve, where you would proportionately carve the marble down into its form. He would basically bore a hole into the marble block with his chisel to where he got to where, for example, a thigh would be, and then just unfold it from there. His he
Wow.
was he was a cowboy.
Amazing. Truly amazing. You want to take that one?
Sure. When I know that God's thinking and mine are one, and that I am so consciously aware of his presence at every working moment. Likewise, consciously feeling my hands to be his hands, my work could not be other than masterly. The great Walter Russell.
Absolutely. And that just exemplifies, I think, too, when you understand the mind as being God, and to the degree that you seek to wield that, and you can't wield it if you're trying to take over the world. There's a fail safe in this divine mind. It does not open itself to people who would misuse it. You have to approach it from a very pure place. And that's a lot of people that get into this study. They try to do it for personal reasons, for personal gain, for things of a outward nature, for ego, for other, ideals that they might hold, or for the benefit of some political movement. None of these things um, are the pure and divine. You're basically misusing or misappropriating the gift of free will. So you could say that God sort of has a um, it's how can I say this? There's no way, as Walter would say, you cannot wisecrack your way into illumination or a divine state. You can't get there with drugs. You can't take mushrooms to find it. This is the inner inspiration, the inner voice of the conscience itself, that you must learn to listen to with your inner ears and to see with your inner eyes that divine beauty. And then the relationship to the body is the ability to unfold what you see into material form. You're basically taking the thoughts inside your mind and freezing them into matter that you carve out in the shape of your imagined image within. And that relationship is the divine relationship between God and between the artist.
That's 100% true. And the key to that is both of those have to be in balance with each other.
Exactly.
The ability to crystallize your thought conceptions, and it has to be in complete balance with what you're envisioning mentally. That's the problem that personally I ran into, is that ever since I got into Walter Russell and um, practicing meditation, um, I've had conceptions of some of the most beautiful paintings and works have come to me, but I lack the technical ability to put them on paper, and
Yep.
it's driving me crazy, and it's really lit a fire under me, and I love every moment of it. It's great, but uh, going back to, yeah, you're 100% correct,
I
and
think
that's
therein too lies the challenge, right? Because they don't call it woodshedding for nothing. You don't get better on the guitar if you just dream about being a great guitar player. You've got to put in the work. You've got to woodshed.
yeah.
You've got to practice, practice, practice.
How do
And
you
that's
get to
why,
Carnegie Hall?
there you go. That's why they say 10,000 hours to become a master. You got to put in that time. So,
I
and
believe
yeah,
it.
I myself, I've had literal symphonies in my mind, but I cannot get them out because I lack, again, the ability to write sheet music. But I have all the parts to all these things, but there's just no way to get them out. And I don't know if I ever will in this lifetime. But there are other things that I'm getting out, though. So that's important.
Where the spirit does not work with the hand, there is no art. Leonardo da Vinci, and that's, I mean, what you said before, that Walter Russell thought that he was the reincarnation of Da Vinci. I mean, he literally just said the same exact thing that Da Vinci said in the previous slide. He just said it more technical, so technically technical.
There you go.
Yeah.
And I think that encompasses the whole, what we just talked about, the balance of the body and the mind working in concert in harmony.
And Walter Russell also explains in the home study course that your left and right arm, or your left and right hand, are where the eyes of God, if you want to, if you will, are at the end of your balance pole, and that's where you do your work. You do your work with your hands, and it's a wonderful feeling. It's like people in athletes. If you're an athlete, you would know what I'm talking about, or what Matt's talking about. When you're in, they call it the zone, when your body's moving, but you're just kind of wholly mind, and you're not aware of your body, and you just know you're going to score that goal, or you're going to put the puck in that net. And the same thing with a musician. All the great musicians, when they're shredding or they're doing it, they're in their mind. Just like what Raphael said, I paint with my mind. They're not aware of their body. They're in ecstasy, and their mind's moving, and their hands moving on the paper, but they're not aware of it.
It's wonderful, wonderfully said. Yeah, and if I would add to that, maybe this will be a quote one day, but if I wanted to take over the world, I would first take over your two hands.
Yeah.
And perhaps that's what these smartphones are really doing. But, anyways, we'll keep moving on here. Ralph Waldo Emerson, every artist was first an amateur. And there's no doubt about that.
In any field.
Correct.
Yeah. So, and anybody that's listening to this, if you're aspiring to do anything, it doesn't matter what it is, you have to start somewhere. And that initial push off, it always takes a tremendous amount of effort in the beginning to get something moving, but once it starts moving, it's becomes uh not, I don't want to say effortless, because there's a degree of effort that's always required, but you'll get to a point where it's self-sustaining. I like to use I think of the analogy of when somebody takes a basketball and spins a basketball on their finger. In the beginning, they have to, if they're spinning the basketball on their left pointer finger, they have to really use their right hand to get that ball spinning, to get it up to speed. But once it's up to speed, then you can just rhythmically tap it, and it stays in motion. It's the same thing with any pursuit or any venture, whether it's playing guitar, or whether it's art, or opening a business. And the beginning always takes a tremendous amount of effort, but after a while, that effort pays off, and it becomes self-sustaining.
Yeah, that's great. That's absolutely true. I think Walter also himself said the same about the steamship. He used that analogy. It takes time to get out of port and get up to cruising speed, and it takes a lot of energy, right? But once you get to that point, of cruising speed, then it takes less energy to maintain that. So yeah, it's right on.
Yeah, that's a principle, and it's just it's an eternal principle.
Exactly. Well, here is some of your artwork. This is really cool stuff, and I'm going to leave this to you if you want to go from the top left and describe each of these in however context, whatever context you'd like to add, and just tell us a little bit about each one, maybe.
Sure. I mean, if anybody's into art at all, you'll notice that most of these are copies of Renaissance drawings. These are just little quick studies that I've done. The one on the top left is a copy of a Renaissance drawing. The one in the top to the right of that one, I believe, is a drawing from Michelangelo. I can't remember. The 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 young boy in the middle, I believe, is a Raphael drawing, and of course everybody will recognize the statue of David from the back by Michelangelo. But this is actually a study of a drawing from Raphael of Michelangelo,
Hmm. Okay.
which the original drawing is done in pen and ink. Uh, and which is the ultimate form of drawing because you can't make a mistake and erase.
Right.
To the right of that is another Renaissance drawing. I can't remember the person off the top of my
And
head.
that,
I'm
that
I'm I'm not omni-informational. I can't retain everything.
right. That
Yeah.
that is a really good one. It appears to show what would otherwise be known as an ecstatic state. Is that correct to say that?
Yeah, a state of awe or ecstasy or
Mhm.
rapture.
Right.
Just looking upwards. So there's the hint of maybe some sort of divinity is
Mhm.
also within it. I think the original drawing was done in sanguine chalk, if I
Hmm.
remember.
Okay.
Really beautiful drawing. So,
Yeah.
and that's the thing. Most of the artists and the painters in the Renaissance, they didn't even consider their preparatory sketches and their sanguine drawings to even be to even be art. I think Michelangelo burned most of his. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
I know when they came for his body, he had burned all his notes, and he was going to be damned if he let the Pope and the Catholic Church get a hold of all his you know prized writings and possessions. That's an interesting thing because they didn't even have his body, right? They they
mhm.
they snuck his body out so that the church wouldn't be able to even have a funeral. So that's an interesting little caveat there.
And moving on, the one on the bottom left is a copy of a Raphael drawing. Um, I love Raphael. He's awesome. His his one of the reasons why I do these quick studies, these generally take me about 2 hours or so to do these, but the purpose of them is uh and this is, I'm gonna butcher a quote from Da Vinci, but in one of his notebooks, he's gives a treatise on how to learn drawing. And one of the things that you should do in the beginning um, is to copy the great masters in order to learn beautiful strokes. So
Mm,
that's why I do it. It's just kind of a mental training thing. It's like training wheels, if you will.
gotcha.
And to the right of that, that's a sketch from Da Vinci with a quick copy. And the Maiko in the bottom middle, a Maiko is an apprentice to be a geisha. That's I drew that from a photograph. I think the photograph was taken in somewhere like the early 1900s or the late 1800s, and I was just practicing proportions in profile view, and I really like. Of course, I live in Japan, and uh, the the Maikos and the geisha. I love their hairstyles, and Japan has a thing where they really like simplicity,
Mm,
and that's always kind of inspired me about their culture, and that's kind of what inspired me to draw that.
Hmm.
And to the right of that is an angel from Raphael, and to the right of that, of course, is Plato.
Mm.
And that was drawn from a picture of a marble bust,
You really
which,
captured the eyes very well with that one.
thank you. And the eyes are always, the windows to the soul. They're what really sell any artwork,
Mm.
whether it's a a statue or a painting. I mean, if you look at the statue of David from Michelangelo, his eyes say the whole story. And when we look at somebody, where do we say, "Look at me." You don't look at my foot. You don't you don't
Right.
look at my
Right.
elbow. You don't look at my leg. You look at me in the eye, and you can tell a whole story about somebody from their eyes. And that's for me anyway. That's the most important part
Right.
uh, of the drawing. But the Plato drawing is a precursor uh, from. I'm going to actually be doing a series of long drawings, not sketches like these, but actual artworks, um, starting in the middle of this summer. And I'm going to be taking suggestions from my Twitter followers, and mostly, great thinkers, ancient Greece, ancient Rome, um, scientists, any great thinkers. And I'm just going to take suggestions from followers and do a full portrait. And I will be doing giveaways to my Patreon members. So anybody who is a member of my Patreon will automatically be enrolled in winning an artwork. And if you're unable to win the artwork, then I will of course have that artwork available for print on my website,
Excellent.
which you can get to from my Twitter. But like I said, I just started the website, so there's not that much stuff on there. But it will be getting filled up pretty quickly. So look out for pictures of Plato, Aristotle, Archimedes. One of my personal favorites, Euclid.
Mm.
I'm a geometry nut.
Right.
Of course, Walter Russell, Nikola Tesla. You won't be seeing any Andy Warhols on there, so don't bother. You won't be seeing any Picasso drawings, so don't bother.
Right. Right. How about this drawing?
Yeah, this is actually a study of geometrical objects that I drew for. I'm studying under two fine artists currently. One of them is Vladimir London, which is a pen name, but he is on YouTube. You could look him up. He's a Russian fine artist. He graduated from, I think, St. Petersburg Art Academy, and he's a master. There's no other way to put it. And he specializes, I believe, in watercolor. But he's there. He is. He's uh he's really big on YouTube. And I'm taking his course, which is awesome. And he gives a lot of good feedback and constructive drawing, constructive drawing, constructive drawing. One of the main problems with one of the main differences between classical art and modern art is its lack of construction and its lack of proportion
Mm. Right.
and perspective.
Sure.
And I have a theory that the lack of perspective and proportion in artwork really affects the mental structure of children and developing minds. And um,
One
we
could
we
even
need
say
to.
that that's directly proportional.
Yes.
Interestingly enough, right? That the
Oh,
lack of
100%.
proportion is proportional to the lack of development. So, yeah.
Definitely. And the other teacher I'm studying under, I don't think he's not on Twitter, but his name's Thomas Glenn. He's on Instagram. He's an Australian, and he's awesome. If anybody out there wants to learn to draw, take his drawing class. Um, Yeah, that's him. He's a master. He studied in Florence, and he's awesome.
Excellent.
He's really he's kind of well known for doing busts of classical Greek sculptures and the such. But he's
Yeah.
awesome. So, but back to this drawing. This is an exercise for Vladimir London that I did, and it's purely from imagination. It's not drawn from life. And
Did you use straight edges?
I did not.
So it's
No, that's
freehand. That's very
oh,
good.
don't ever let Mr. London catch you using straight edges. It's important. It's important to not use straight edges. It to train the body to if your mind wants to draw a straight line, train your body to draw a straight line. Of course, it's and
Interesting.
there's nothing more frustrating. I challenge anybody. You want one of the most frustrating things on the planet? Get a big piece of paper like an A3 or bigger, and draw a straight line from one end to the other. And I'll see you in about 4 hours.
Right.
Yeah, it's very frustrating. But yeah, all the shadows that's came from my mind. Of course, it's not perfect by any means. I'll do a little deconstruction of it. The cube is not actually a cube; it's a cuboid.
Hmm.
It's stretched out to the right a little bit too far.
Gotcha.
And the shadows coming off of the cylinder are a little off, but that's the first long study. That drawing took about 14 hours
Hmm.
to do.
It's
So, but
interesting. The cylinder has the shadow over the half of it from the light source over the prism, and the tip of the shadow over the over the
the
top of
pyramid.
that. Yep. That's
Yeah,
well done.
thank you very much. And that drawing is for sale on my website, and it's available for print if anybody wants it.
Excellent. And we'll go to the next slide here.
Sure.
And this is a very neat one. I believe you've even incorporated the 1.618 into this. Is that right?
Yeah, the golden mean 1.618003398 to infinity and beyond. Yeah. It's actually all throughout it. But this is from imagination. Um, there's over 14 golden proportions in this drawing.
Hmm.
The on the screen, it's probably not the exact dimensions of the actual artwork itself, but the actual dimensions of the perimeter of the length to the width of the paper is in a golden proportion to it
Mhm.
to itself, and then the top of the gate is the length or is the height, I should say, of the actual paper, and then in the center of the of the gate where you would walk through is a golden rectangle.
Okay.
And the center of light coming out from the vanishing point is in a golden mean between the bottom of that rectangle and the top of that rectangle. And then, and it might be a little hard to imagine. I might not be explaining it well enough, but also from the vanishing point to the left to the column holding up the torii gate, the end of that column to the center of the vanishing point, and the inside of the column is in a golden mean, and
Mm,
vice versa on the other
okay.
side. And then, of course, there's a couple more, but there's about 14 golden mean proportions in there.
Mhm. Is this a slightly Japanese influence?
Yeah, the whole symbology of the torii gate is interesting. I played with the proportions a little bit. The traditional proportions of a torii gate, the interior is not a golden rectangle, it's a square.
Mm.
And their symbol for the divine is a circle. So it's a squared circle. And I always love the symbol of Japanese shrines, because Japanese shrines are, traditionally kind of in the middle of nowhere. and
Uh,
they're really difficult to get to, especially in old Japan. And the symbology is really cool. You enter into the torii gate, and you're in the divine realm. And what's the purpose? At the end of you get to the shrine. The shrine is where the kami or the gods live, and you make your way this long journey along the path to get to the shrine to where the kami are, and you enter into the holy of holies, into the shrine after your long journey. And there's three objects, and one of the objects is a mirror.
Interesting.
Yeah, I always like that. So
Okay. Well,
what better way to honor that than to draw a torii gate?
there you go.
And this is another drawing I did. I completed it maybe like a week or two ago now. This is a inside of a cathedral or a monastery or what have you from completely from imagination. I saw it in my head, and this is interesting because the length to the height of this piece is this is very closely proportionate to pi.
Okay.
So if you were to, for example, if you were to divide 22 inches by 7 inches, it would approximate pi. That's the same with the dimensions of that. Also, the the gate at the where the vanishing point is, where the doors are opened,
Hmm.
the where the inside of the doors where they would shut are if you were to draw two imaginary lines up to the roof, that would also be a pi rectangle. And then from if you were to look at the bottom of the drawing, if you were to take the vanishing point straight down to the bottom, basically divide that picture in half and look to the end of the drawing, the path that you would be walking to leave the monastery, that the sidewalk or whatever you want to call it, that line that terminates at the bottom of the picture is in a golden relationship to the center of the painting or of the drawing, and flipped the the center of that column, the closest column on the left, the very central axis is also in a golden relationship between the end of the drawing and the central axis of the painting or the drawing. I don't know why I keep calling it a painting.
Right.
But yeah, that's with artwork, that's kind of what uh, really gets me going is instilling and incorporating these eternal principles into it, like the golden ratio and pi dimensions, and that's what they did with the pyramids.
Right.
They're imbued all throughout with those they're basically crystallized. It's basically crystallized music.
Mm.
um, and yeah, that's what really inspires me when I'm making my drawings.
Right. Reminds me of Walter Russell's 28 Figures, the Mark Twain Memorial. If you line those up to a musical scale, it actually plays a melody.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we had a harp player here in the museum that was playing for the homecoming, and I asked if he could look at that and play the notes, and he played it, and it was a beautiful song. So yeah, it's really incredible that you can put more than just proportions. You can put music into your artwork as well, literally. Is the last slide here.
Yeah, that's one of the teachers that I work with last year. This is her dog. It's a Shiba Ken or Shiba Inu, and her name's Hannah, and she loves her dog. And she asked me, she would see me drawing all the time in the teacher's room. Probably shouldn't have been, but
Right.
uh, they leave me alone. So yeah, so she asked me to draw a portrait of her dog, and I think there's a couple things I would change, but overall, I really like the way it came out, and I think it captured. I like the eyes.
Yeah, the
Gets
eyes
me.
are, I was just going to say it's really well done.
Thank you, thank you.
Yep.
But yeah, she got that. This is also available in a print form. If anybody has a Shiba Inu out there and they want to, and it reminds them of their dog, go ahead and you can pick that up if you want. But yeah,
Is that
what's
at
that?
this link, your Patreon?
Not my Patreon. My website is michaelartofficial.com.
Okay.
But I'm not really. I didn't really want to plug that in the beginning, just because it's small, and there's not too much on it. But
Gotcha.
it'll get bigger.
There you go. Well, that's great. I think, that's a really good introduction into the minds of artists, especially these masters. And these are the classics. And just so much wonderful insight that we've shared in just this slideshow. I do want to run another video here since we're moving into the second half of this. And we're going to talk a little bit about architecture, which is also a fine art, but how important it is. And I think this all relates. The modern art movement not only destroyed the classical art, it also destroyed architecture, you could say,
Yes.
because there's really, like the five senses, one could say it's actually one sense. Art is really one thing. It's the expression of the divinity of man's soul. And to do any less than that is to express what? Less than divinity, at least the effort of it, which is basically where the term SHART comes from, which stands for shit art. So that's my own neologism I came up with, SHART. And we should probably start SHART.com. Like people of Walmart, we could just have all the worst, shittiest art on this website. And it will lead off with Duchamp's urinal, so.
I mean, some of the funniest posts I've ever read in my life on Twitter come from modern art, just people dumping on modern art. It's just, it's, man, I love people. People are great.
It gives you hope again in humanity, where
It does.
by rights we shouldn't have any, but this is great. It really is. So let's see here. Let me throw up another. Let me see. Where should we start? Oh, hang on. Okay, I'm going to have to upload one clip that I missed, but since I already ran Roger Scruton, let's go ahead and run Dana Gioia's Why Beauty Matters. This is a clip from his work, a little 28-minute documentary. He's a poet, but he's really captured this scene, especially with what we call modern architecture today.
Steve Jobs claimed his central animating idea for Apple came not from studying engineering, but calligraphy, and realizing that the form of a thing shapes its function and meaning. The form of a thing expresses, intentionally or unintentionally, its reality, its essence, and almost everyone in society recognizes this fact, although most people cannot easily articulate why. The failure of the public sector in this nation is embodied in thousands of ugly buildings and public spaces. These places have been built practically. They are practical and functional in every respect, except in practice, since they communicate to the average person that the citizen is just a number in a game of cost efficiency and crowd control. The experience that Americans have walking up the steps of the Lincoln Memorial is the experience of beauty, the embodiment of our political vision of the beauty of democracy expressed in great architecture, great sculpture, great landscaping, and great language carved calligraphically in the very walls of the memorial. This is the moment that Frank Capra captured so powerfully in Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. By contrast, the experience of visiting the FBI headquarters less than a half a mile away is disconcerting, dehumanizing, and alienating. No wonder its ugly and brutalist exterior was used as a symbol for government deceit and cold bureaucracy in the X-Files. The architecture didn't communicate a government of the people, by the people, for the people, but a government by secret police. The forms of things express meanings whether we intend them to or not. When the U.S. was a smaller, poorer country, the public buildings expressed the greatness of our nation. Just look at a Depression-era post office with marble floors, carved wooden counters, brass fixtures, and often an original mural. This was a vision of a beautiful society to which any citizen who entered could participate in. Today, the post office is all vinyl and plexiglass. It offers no vision but expediency. We are not citizens, but customers in a cut-rate 99-cent store vision of democracy. No wonder the public doesn't believe in the government. The government seems not to believe in them as alert, intelligent, sensory human beings. Until we discover how to embody our civic vision in beauty, the public sector will remain more X-Files and less Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. Man hungers for beauty.
Right on.
Yeah, and if I may add, the way that the FBI has been going, they deserve to be in a building that ugly.
Well, as within, so without.
Yeah.
It's the great Hermetic axiom demonstrated in the 3D world. It's interesting, they said they were going to move it to Alabama. I said, why stop there? Move it out into the Gulf of Mexico and leave it there permanently,
Exactly.
And this particular clip was inspired for me to capture that because of a clip we shared when I did a test run of a live feed for the Tech podcast. And that was from Tucker Carlson when he appeared on Russell Brand. And I'm going to run that clip right now just because they're both pertinent in the example of, what modern architecture has done to the trust of a citizenry. So here's that clip.
Architecture changed completely, and it went from designs that complemented the landscape around them to a kind of architecture that clearly hates people, that is designed to oppress the human spirit and make people feel without value, worthless. I think if you brought someone from the streets of Tokyo to the Cotswolds and said, what do you think of that building? He would say, that's beautiful, because beauty is inherent. Every person recognizes beauty. A Shinto temple in Kyoto, I recognize it immediately as beautiful, because it is. It's consistent with the symmetry of nature.
Municipal and state buildings were once plainly an expression of a contract between the people and their government of a good faith relationship.
I think that! I just thought that! I walked up with my wife in the rain on a village hall, and I thought, whoever built that cared about the people. It was built by the people who live there for the people who live there, and they loved the people who live there because they were related to them or knew them. It was built by peasants without machines.
Right on.
Yeah, I love that clip. That clip gave me so much respect for Tucker Carlson. You can see the passion that he has for it, and we need more of that passion. We can't let our tax dollars go to giving us just vapid, meaningless, concrete commie blocks to look at. Like, it's horrific what's happening out there right now. And I'm glad there's so many YouTube channels and people on Twitter and on all forms of social media bringing this into the consciousness of people.
Right.
And awareness is key. It always starts with awareness. And once enough people are aware of what's going on, then we can start change. But We have a long road ahead of us.
Yeah. I often say we need a renaissance, truly. You know, that's what will save humanity, is a renaissance. And what brings a renaissance better than great art? What is the example of a renaissance? Great art. So a return to great art and that kind of mindset of, you know, really bringing forth your divinity, your own specialness within, to bring it without. And the more people that do this, you know, we can recreate all these failed systems to where they'll work again for the people, by the people, of the people, that can express their innermost divine mind onto the stage of the world. And we will change this world, but it has to happen one individual at a time. It's never done in groups. You know, groups can be formed out of individuals and they function well, like a volunteer fire department, for instance, of which I serve on too. But just as an example, you know, what is the most important thing we learn in firefighting? Who is the most important person? I've had different instructors ask this. And if you answer anyone but yourself, you've failed to answer correctly. So the individual, you are the most important person on any fire scene. And that's because if you aren't aware of what's going on around you, not only will you hurt yourself, but you can hurt others. So that's the reasoning behind that. I do want to move ahead. Where are we here? We got the slides. We rolled the Dana Joya clip. Okay, we're on Local Color now. This is going to be really fun because Local Color is a movie that was directed and produced by George Gallo. And George Gallo is literally recalling an experience. It's based on a true story, but of him as a young man. He was taken under the tutelage of one Russian artist, George Sharapov. He in this movie shows his relationship with this master artist who was a realist artist. And what's so beautiful about it is the way they pick on modern art. Now, in this movie, Ron Perlman plays himself, a vapid, rabid leftist who has no idea what good art is. And his name in the show is Curtis Sunday.
Oh, if it was Donnie, then game over.
Right? But so Curtis Sunday, being a leftist who's into the modern art and this ridiculousness of modern art, he really does play himself, Ron Perlman, my God. But anyways, the first clip I'm going to run is the great Nikolai Serev is the guy's name, the fictional artist who is representing George Sharapov. But he's invited by Curtis Sunday, Ron Perlman, to go to an art judging, to be the judge of an art contest. And so this is that first scene. We're going to check it out.
Let's check it out.
All right.
I just can't remember the last time it was this hot in August. I mean, I hope it doesn't affect the turnout, don't you? Oh, here he is, our man of the hour, Nikolai Serov. Please say hello to our friend and hostess, Miss Sally Huntington Quayle.
It's an honor to have you judging our exhibit, Mr. Serov.
Pleasure's all mine. Nikolai, please. Beautiful sunrise.
Hello, Nikolai.
Oh, yes, it's all just waiting for you, Nikolai.
What the fuck is this?
You're Nikolai Serov.
Yeah, is this yours?
Oh yeah.
What's the point?
Mechanized madness.
You've half succeeded.
Hello, sir. Would you like some wine? You want the bun? Alrighty. There you go, sir. Very good. You didn't take the over?
You're the artist?
Yes.
What's the point?
Well, see, I'm exploring the two-dimensionality of the canvas.
You mean its flatness?
Well, yes.
That's already fucking flat. What's there to explore?
Yes, but to explore that flatness.
I'm lost.
Well, you see, it's a journey that I take.
A journey?
Yes, the exploration of what the thing already is.
Which is flat.
Yes.
So, where do you come in?
I explore that.
What it is already?
Yes. Do you understand?
No.
Watching Nikolai in this room was like watching Marilyn Monroe at a freak show. Being outnumbered, she had suddenly become the freak.
Can I get you anything?
Can of gasoline, some matches.
Why, are we having a good time?
Having a good time? Having a good time. Oh, yes, having a good time. No. I'm telling you, if I live another 10 more years, I will live to see bucket of piss in Museum of Modern Art. Please give me
Let's get home. Let's
Nikolai.
You know, yeah, people are all crazy. All crazy. So, I see all this shit. It's all shit. You know, people. You see shit. It's all shit. 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 There's a war going on here of craziness and sanity. And craziness is winning. Craziness is winning.
Let's get
This is the only fucking thing.
Go ahead.
Only fucking thing that works in this world. That's it. Congratulations!
I busted out laughing 5 or 6 times in that, and I can't see it. I can watch that movie 100 times, and it still makes me laugh.
Oh, I've never heard of this movie before. That was amazing.
Yeah, it's really.
He gives the award to was that a fan at the end?
Yeah, he said it's the only fucking thing that works in the whole place. So he put the first place ribbon on a fan.
The conversation that he had with the person with the black canvas.
Yeah.
I've heard conversations like this before.
Right.
And it's oh man, what a great clip.
Yeah.
It says everything you need to know about modern art.
Exactly. And what a great movie, because it's this kind of movie that's going to draw the attention to the fallacy of this idea that modern art is art at all, which it really isn't. So, but let's run another clip, because since we're on the roll with local color, I've got 2 more to go. The last one is just spectacular, but this one gives a little background on the George Sharapov character, who again is played by the great actor. I'm sorry, I don't remember his name, but more or less he's going to volunteer at a school for retarded children to just give them a little bit of artistic training. But here's that clip.
It was good to see this side of him. What a kind man he really could be. And he really seemed to care a great deal. The other teachers at the school all said the Seraph was their favorite guest.
Take a little bit more water. A little bit more water. this area. Try it. Oh, a big red heart with a face. And here a lot of birds, yes? These kids make more sense to me than that fucking Curtis Sunday. You know? I think they're ready to paint in oils.
So yeah, that's actually Armin Mueller-Stahl is the actor who plays Nikolai Serov. And the last clip I'm going to show from that movie is the scene that I call I've Lost My Mind, but it's where Curtis Sunday comes over and they're having a discussion about modern art, which relates to the scene you just saw. So here's that clip.
If I could add to that scene that I just that we just saw, that kind of spoke to me at a personal level. I had gone with my girlfriend to the Osaka, I think it's called the Osaka Metropolitan Museum of Modern Art, and I knew I was just burning my money, but we had to go to see and just laugh at everything. And we went in there, and of course it was a travesty of just epic and monumental proportions. But the funny thing is the next Monday when I went back to work, because I work in the public school system, at the one school that I was teaching at on Wednesdays, I used to teach the disabled kids. I'm an English teacher, and a lot of kids at that age, doesn't matter who you are or where you are, love to draw. And I like to incorporate that in my classes. And we were learning animals. So I had them draw their own zoo, their own special zoo. And I had my special needs students drawing beautiful pictures of elephants and giraffes and stuff. And their proportions were way more on target than what I saw in the Osaka Metropolitan Museum of Art. This is exactly like that video clip.
That's hilarious. Yeah. That's awesome.
So, yeah, let's check out this next clip.
Okay, yeah, this will put the cream on the sauce on top of the pasta here. So here we go, folks.
Young John is coming along very well with his studies.
Oh, that's wonderful, Nikolai and John. But now, what about that work you promised me?
You're anxious, aren't you?
Well, hell yes.
I'll go and get it.
How was your dinner? Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it is. He's a progressive artist. Not really my cup of tea, but I'm anxious to hear what you have to say. This one.
Holy shit.
You don't like it? Shut up. You see, no, I think it's like, yes, that's. So, what do you think?
What do you think, honey?
It's not my area of expertise, sweetheart.
Well, we know that, but thoughts? Share?
I think I'll just stick to being a shrink.
Oh, come on now. Take a position. What about depth?
All right, it has depth.
Depth? It's fucking deep.
Oh, yes, it's fucking deep.
My God. Let me see the next one, Nikolai.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God, there is so much pain.
Pain?
Yeah, the angularity of line and despair, a deep sense of despair and
Yeah.
There's a yearning, a deep sense of yearning.
Yearning, yes.
And there's sadness. Sadness over rage. It's just an emotional yin and yang, don't you think, honey?
Absolutely.
I mean, you gotta see this, Nikolai. You do see the sadness.
Oh, yes, I think it's very, very sad.
It takes my breath away. I've got to meet this guy. This is quite a... More. I want to see more.
Oh, yes, please. This one. I like this.
It's almost as if there are several styles at work here. If I didn't know better, I would think that there was more than one hand at work, and yet there is an overriding theme. It's a passive impression of, dare I say, pointlessness.
Yeah. Pointlessness.
The artist is clearly expressing through a means of minimalism a simplistic rendering of essentials. It's got weight, it's got focal point, it's got secondary thought. I mean, and it's completely cohesive in its intent.
And you see all of this in two blue squares and crooked tree.
It's impossible not to see. I mean, it's so fucking clear.
Yeah. Fucking clear. I will tell you what's fucking clear. It's how full of shit you are.
Oh, come on, Nikolai. I mean, you said this was not your cup of tea. This artist is clearly brilliant, and I think maybe we're a little jealous.
These paintings are from the fucking retarded kids that I teach at the school.
What?
Brilliance, simplicity, yearning. You know? God, that's bullshit. Bullshit.
Nikolai, this is not funny.
I think it's fucking hysterical.
You know what? I'm not staying for coffee.
Oh, no, please stay. I have a wonderful painting of Big Red Car. See the girl.
Get your wrap. We're leaving, honey.
Good. I have a wonderful painting of Purple Dog. See, what do you think? It's beautiful.
That's enough.
Wait, I have a wonderful painting. I mean, that's a masterpiece of two orange mice. It has balance. Hey,
You know what, Nikolai? You have really, really lost your mind this time.
I've lost my mind. I've lost my mind.
And what is so damn funny?
I've lost my mind. I've lost my mind. I've lost my mind.
Would you stop with the fucking laughing?
I've lost my mind. I've lost my mind. I lost my mind. I've lost my mind.
Oh my God, I love that scene.
Whoever cast Ron Perlman in that role was a genius.
That was the best casting ever done, probably in the history of film.
I can't argue with that.
Almost as good as Charlton Heston as Moses, but oh my God, yeah, it really shows you the utter idiocy of this modern art movement, and you could do that with any modern art. It's like, just because you know the terms of how to describe wine, there's hundreds of terms in describing a sip of wine, right? And they have the same collection of terms that they use for modern art. It's deep, I'm exploring it. It's got depth and secondary thought, and there's not a divine proportion one in it. It's just, somebody vomited on a canvas and they have this reaction like it's the greatest thing on earth.
Literally.
But it's all bullshit to an actual, real, true artist. And in terms of beauty, it has none. It's void. So that's really, that's what is so reflecting in this, is that, it shows that hypocrisy.
It's so true. And we go back to the example of throw up on a canvas. Back in, I think it was the 80s, I don't remember, he doesn't even deserve his name spoken, but he put a effigy of Christ on the cross in a jar of urine.
Right. Yeah.
And became famous for it. And it's just pure emotion. And the reason why that it became famous in those circles is pretty obvious, is that most modern people that really like modern art tend to fall in a certain category of people that are they're atheists, plain and simple. A lot of these people are extreme leftist atheists and lean towards communism in a political spectrum, and that uh, thought structure, that political structure, actively encourages it, and they, you know, I don't know, I just don't get it. Like, you can't even try to begin to logically think about it and see what they're thinking about, because there is no logic, there is no thought. It's just vapid, vacuous trash that they put cute, elegant adjectives behind, and people think they're edgy and they're cool, and all they are is they have the most vapid thoughts out of any individuals on earth. There's nothing to them. They're completely out of touch with themselves, with their mind, with their soul, and they're very, very, very sense oriented. They're very materialistic, and that's why their art always devolves into over sexualizations of things, and it's disgusting.
It's really the glorification of mediocrity.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
have a
say what they can't do, they want to destroy so that they can elevate themselves to a false sense of superiority. And it's the blind leading the blind. And as you mentioned that I wrote this post, I just want to read this real quick because it's touching right on this subject. But I wrote yesterday, when you know that God is mind, there can be no bosses or middlemen between you and God. You will never be more free to draw upon the inner power that every human being inherently possesses. You will be free of religions, free of governments, free of systems, free of idols, free of other people, free from all limitations. The power of mind is omniscient, omnipotent, and omnipresent. It is the force behind all creation, and you are an intrinsic part of it. And so when you say the atheist, it's so true, because from this sense, from the Russell perspective too, if God is mind and you remove God to be a godless, say, then are you not also mindless? And so what
thoughtless.
thoughtless, mindless, the lack of beauty, the lack of inspiration, all of these are qualities of the soul. They have no physical existence whatsoever. And that's what is so troubling, is that removing that which isn't physical in a material only reality, which is what science has done as well. You remove the creator from its own creation, and you end up with bizarre theories about the origins of the universe that have absolutely no reality at all whatsoever, any more than this modern art has no representative reality to anything real. It's literally, you can shit on a canvas and it's worth millions and millions of dollars, or you just write to Hunter Biden, whatever whatever you want. You want a nice picture of a crack pipe, there you go. I mean, it's the most disgusting and lack of talent representation of reality that exists. But I guess you could say that in that there's a lesson. What do you think?
Yeah, of course. I think the lesson comes from people like yourself and other people out there that recognize that it is trash, and it gets them off the couch to go do something about it. So truly, from the bottom of my heart, I have to thank these people. You know, we're here. We have to start from somewhere, and they're just making it too easy at this point. I mean,
Right.
I had a post yesterday or the day before. This is I don't remember when it was sold, but the artwork is literally a banana duct taped to a wall, and
Right.
it's sold for $120,000 US.
Unbelievable.
Another one was that I saw was it was a section of a blackboard, and they took a piece of white chalk and just scribbled squiggly curly cues on it. 120 million US dollars.
Wow. Wow. That says it all, right?
I mean, that will lead into, the whole money laundering aspect of modern art and what they're really doing. And that, and that will also lead into the from the Satanist perspectives and the atheist perspectives that these rituals are doing. And that, if anybody wants to look up Maria Abramovich, you can go down your own rabbit hole with that.
Yeah. Right.
But that's where it all leads.
Or the John Podesta art collection.
And what was in Epstein's apartment with Bill Clinton in the blue dress.
Yeah.
And, the little boys, as you alluded to.
G.W. Bush playing with Jenga blocks and 2 destroyed towers in the background,
Yeah.
I mean, this is the end of that road, right?
Yeah.
Is basically the self-destruction of the human race.
That's where it's all headed.
Right. And so that's why I think, we have a choice as individuals. What are we going to fund? What are we going to look at? What are we going to make important? All these things are choices that the free will has to make. And the free will can also choose to spend $120 million on a banana taped to a wall. I mean,
what happened when it rotted? And it's like, what did he do with it?
Well, there's a guy that comes in every 2 days and
replaces the banana. Like, if he was smart, it would have been a plastic banana.
But then you don't get the rot, there's got to be rot.
Oh, that's the deep
because
part of
modernity
it, right?
is a rotting corpse, that smells and is unpleasing to the senses, lacking beauty.
Modern art is over opulent decadence. It's decadence in the extreme, but at the other end, it's also vapid. It's completely void of anything of quality or significance. And some people ask me sometimes, you find these arguments sometimes, or debates, if you will, on online. Well, what is beauty? Is beauty subjective? Is beauty objective? Everybody listen to me right now. Beauty is not subjective, it is objective. And when people ask me, well, what's your definition of beauty? This is generally what I tell them. Say, beauty is the golden mean between decadence and vapidity. And right now, modern art is vapid decadence in the extreme.
Right.
And that's the best definition that I personally be able to come up.
That's wonderful, because I grabbed the webpage of the 1828 Webster Dictionary so that we could see how they define beauty, 200 years ago. And this is the definition: an assemblage of graces or an assemblage of properties in the form of the person or any other object which pleases the eye in the person, due proportion or symmetry of parts constitutes the most essential property to which we annex the term beauty. In the face, the regularity and symmetry of the features, the color of the skin, the expression of the eyes are among the principal properties which constitute beauty. But as it is hardly possible to define all the properties which constitute beauty, we may observe in general that beauty consists in whatever pleases the eye of the beholder, whether in the human body, in a tree, in a landscape, or in any other object. Beauty is intrinsic and perceived by the eye at first view, or relative to perceive which the aid of the understanding and reflection is requisite. Thus, the beauty of a machine is not perceived till we understand its uses and adaptation to its purpose. This is called the beauty of utility. By any easy transition, the word beauty is used to express what is pleasing to the other senses or to the understanding. Thus we say the beauty of a thought, of a remark, of sound, etc. So beauty armed with virtue bows the soul with a commanding but a sweet control. Isn't that beautiful? Just that definition.
That's very well put. And the one thing that stood out to me in that definition is that it's a due proportion or symmetry of parts,
Exactly.
which constitutes the essential property. In other words, this kind of ties into a Twitter post that I made about this the golden mean and the symbology in the Michelangelo's Adam and
16.
God.
Yeah.
And that's basically that's why these Renaissance artists were borderline obsessed with the golden ratio, because in principle, that's what the golden ratio is. People ask, what is the golden ratio? The golden ratio is it's a schism between two conditions or two objects, which balances those parts to each other with the overall whole. That's what it does. And it makes the entire thing balance. It's how we create balance in motion. It's how, if there's an utter unity, there's no division of parts. But when you create a division and you have two separate conditions, you have to create those two conditions in balance with each other, but also as a continuity of the whole. And that is the office and what the golden mean does. That's its purpose. And in the masters in the day, they knew that to a T, and they went full bore, and look what they made. And now
Yeah.
we have bananas.
Yep. But great art is enduring. Bananas are not.
That's true. That's true.
Banana idea, right? The banana tree will always be around, but great art is enduring, and shit art is not. So
no, it's
that's what we have to hope for, that we won't have to live with this garbage for all eternity. That man will rediscover in himself his own divine proportion and relationship to the eternal mind of God, of which his little mind is but a part of, intrinsically a part of, I might add. So I got 2 more video clips to roll, brother, and this has been just an absolutely fantastic discussion. I know that the listeners are going to get a hell of a good time out of it. Share this far and wide. Share it on Twitter. I hope the big art accounts, the architectural accounts, and Western civilization, proponents share this far and wide. Maybe Elon might sit and watch it, because he could probably use a little bit of this discussion to get that fucking stupid X off of there and go with a better.
Well, interestingly, going back to the golden mean, the Twitter bird is based on golden mean circles.
Interesting.
Which, if you want to bring it up really quick, if you just type in Twitter bird golden mean, I'm sure it'll pop up. But a lot of logos are based on that proportion, and now they have an X. Like, I don't know why. Like,
right.
Every time I think of it, every time I log into X, I just think of X gonna give it to you. Every time, I just can't get it out of my head.
Right. I'm unfortunately not finding anything on the Twitter bird, but I think the audience gets the point, so. But yeah, definitely, guys, it's right in front of us, right? The answer is go back to the masters. They've already told us how to do it. That's where the answer lies. That's the future. If we can learn from these great minds that have come before us, on whose shoulders we stand, not to worship them, I might add, but to learn to become giants ourselves. That is our charge in this day and age. And so I'm going to run 2 more video clips, and this one is one I put together. I swiped some footage from the Viking cruise, people, so give them credit for this, but I spliced on something at the end and put it to different music by Hans Zimmer. This is called Cathedrals, and a 3D view of the Sistine Chapel. So we're going to run that, and then we'll come back. hard to top that one.
I mean, just makes you want to cry.
I know it, right? It making that video brought tears to my eyes. So
Yeah.
something about when you mix the music with the scenery, it's just, that's what it is. That's the feeling, right? That
Yeah,
great art produces.
It's the goosebumps.
Damn, there it is.
Yeah.
So, but hey, man, Michael Post, guys, check out his website. Let's roll your site real quick one more time for Twitter.
And also, yeah, while you're on the site, I want everybody, if you're interested in, of course, I have Twitter posts about this, and I'll be coming out with my own artwork. But there's a lot of people out there in the community that are way bigger than me at this point, and I would encourage everybody to go follow Culture Critic
Absolutely.
on Twitter. That account is awesome.
Yep.
And he's done so much to bring to light just the beautiful architecture and exposing modern art. And he has a great quote on the front of his page, and it says, "Tradition is not the worship of ashes, but the preservation of fire." And I was thinking of that quote the entire time I was watching that video that you made. So I would appreciate the follow, of course, but go out and follow him definitely, because he's the head horse on the chariot right now.
You want to name some other accounts too? There's a few others that are just really, I know you probably have a better idea of what those are out there.
Sure. Western Exile is good. Architecture and Tradition is also good. The Old Building is good. I mean, if you can go to any one of those accounts and click on it, and it's the algorithm will kick in and start giving you suggestions. Classicals is also really good. The Art of Purpose is also a really good channel. Alexander's Cartographer. Architect Older. Yeah, how could I forget? I love that guy. That guy's awesome.
Absolutely.
And if you click on any one of those, you'll start to get more of the same. And we need to build a community. We need to bring awareness, and one drop at a time.
Absolutely. Well, again, it's been great. Thanks so much for joining me. I'm going to roll one more video, and then we're going to sign off. So stick around. This video here in particular is what I see as the kind of mindset that the modern day artist has to have to achieve a return to achieve a renaissance and a return to the value that is added by these great masters of the past. And this is by an artist whose name is, I know I wrote it down. Come on, Matt. Scott Lobato. Okay. So check this out. This is a film coming out called The Relentless Patriot. And he's an artist who is relentless. And this is what I think would be a great solution to the problem of SHART in this world. Here we go.
11-month-old girl shot in the face because of woke criminal-loving district attorneys.
Come on, murderer. This is a street performance. Seems like all the artist activists are on the left. Except for Scott Lobato.
I do not conform to the elitist isms of the art clubs, and they have left me like a redheaded stepchild. This is my medium in which I shall create, and this is my canvas, the front of the Brooklyn Museum.
The first most important thing in school, or anywhere else, is the Pledge of Allegiance.
This is not a pro-war protest. This has to do with the increasing level of anti-Americanism.
Now, lock them up! They don't keep the criminals in jail. They're not gonna keep you in jail.
This line is to show respect and honor to those who died, got shot in the fucking head, protecting us. You try to take that fucking blue line down. I'll paint it till the day I die.
When the towers came down, there was absolutely no doubt that feeling It was going to change my life. And it did.
When somebody's complaining, it's so cold out, the traffic. And here I am, drinking with one of these guys who's got one arm, he's got a hook for another arm, and he's drinking a fucking beer, having a laugh with me, and he's not bitching about nothing.
I present to you the recipient of this year's VFW Americanism Award, Mrs. Scott Levedo.
That's it. I'm gonna paint a flag on a rooftop in every state near a military base.
As a veteran, we all fought for that flag in World War II. And today, we want to see it flying.
They will never, as long as I am alive, they will never take the American flag down. You want to burn one? Then I will find out where you work, and I will find a building across the street and paint a flag 50 by 100, so you have to see it every fucking day.
A pro-Trump sign on the front lawn of a Staten Island home was burned to the ground.
The hate I get is astronomical. If everybody liked me, I'd be doing something wrong. My mother's advice, whatever you do with your life, as long as you believe it in your heart, and always take care of those less fortunate. My father's advice was, son, take from nobody.
This is about control and division.
We must unite. We must take a stand. Are you ready? Left, right, left.
God didn't give me a gun and a bayonet. He gave me paint and brush, and I will fight to the f***ing death for this country.
Get on up, get on up, get on up, right, left.
I like that.
That's the attitude, man. That's what's going to win this, right?
And we are going to win.
Good always prevails. It always will. And God. There it is, buddy.
There it is. That was a great talk.
Yeah, I really appreciate you coming on, and I'm sure the viewers of this are going to enjoy it a lot. Thanks to all those great accounts, Twitter and everywhere else, where you guys are helping to preserve the great Western tradition of art that has brought this civilization out of the dust and keep the phoenix rising, keep the fire lit and access that light in you, learn to express that light in you, and above all, number one, hold that light. We'll see you on the next time. Thanks a bunch, guys.
Thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for viewing and for sharing the link to this tech podcast. To find out more about the work that I do, you can visit mattpresti.com. Scroll down to the bottom to view all of my social media links and channels. If you feel so inclined, you may leave a donation through the Cash App by scanning the QR code or using the hashtag $MPRESTI. To contact me, simply reach out through the contact form at mattpresti.com. Thank you so much.